It's strange. When a story has been a part of your life for so long, and has left such an impact on you, be that big or small, it's weird remembering a time before that, and hard to imagine where you'd be now without it. For me, I can think of a couple different franchises. Like most people my age, Star Wars was my gateway into the world of science fiction. It took a box set of the original Indiana Jones trilogy to begin my fascination with performing arts and filmmaking. And hell, I can't even imagine who I'd be as a person without Doctor Who. One thing I never imagined, however, was how entranced I'd be by a group of friends simply trying to survive one summer in June of 1983, and the many worlds it would open up to me. Hello, I'm Michael Crewe from Crewe on the Sofa, and if you didn't already know that, then now you do, so my catchphrase tagline thing makes sense. In 2017, I decided to start a series of videos going over my thoughts and opinions on Higurashi no Naku Koroni, otherwise known as When They Cry. Whoever they are. There were many facets to my initial intent with this series. Firstly, like most smaller YouTubers will understand, I was trying to find my thing. A thing that would both challenge and entertain me, while also providing entertainment to other people. Being a fan of the old guard of internet reviewers, I wanted to try applying that format to something I hadn't previously seen it applied to. Secondly, I wanted to try and get a couple of my mates to check out the anime. I had previously tried to show them, but they weren't really having it, so my dumb brain thought, hey, we all like analytical YouTube funny men, try and explain it to them through that. At the time of this recording, it is 2022. And as far as I'm aware, those three people still haven't watched the series itself, and/or this series of videos. The thing that I've spent the last 5 years worth of my life on. Cheers, guys. I've grown up enough since then to understand that trying to force people to like something you like is a stupid idea. Something I wish I'd learnt sooner. And I'm frankly over hearing what they think, even if I do value their opinions. Though I'd still appreciate them contributing to the viewership of this series. And thirdly, I wanted to try and provide a fun and easy entry point to the franchise itself, as well as some information and tidbits that I wasn't privy to when I first started. Whether I've actually done that is certainly debatable. Before making this series, I had only ever met 3 other people who even knew about the franchise, and even then, only had the briefest amount of time to chat about it, so being able to talk about all my silly thoughts and feelings and chucking them into the world has been extremely cathartic. It's legitimately just been a bonus that people actually want to hear them, and that's not even mentioning the new people who are checking out the franchise for the first time through this series. It's extremely humbling to think that people actually started here. Good God, I am so sorry. What's the old saying, build it and they will come?
Oh my!
I suppose you could also say that this was my roundabout way of giving back to a franchise that has done a surprising amount for me. While I grew up watching shows like Pokemon, Digimon, Dragon Ball Z, Card Captors, one of these things is not like the other, one of these things just doesn't belong, one of these things was advertised wrong, but I like the name Sakura Avalon. Higurashi kind of reignited my love of anime and led me to checking out even more shows, something that I hope people watching this have also experienced. In fact, when Season 5, Go, came out, it actually kind of did it again. I've watched more anime in the last couple of years than I ever did before. Regardless of your opinion on Go and Satsu, you can't deny that's a good thing. I also saw it as a cheeky avenue to improving my style of video making, a veritable testing ground, if you will. So, yeah, if you're watching this before checking out the rest of the series for the first time, Be prepared for a dramatic drop in quality, particularly in that first episode. It does get better over time, though, so stick with it. Speaking of, what can you expect from this series? My main inspiration came from Linkara's Atop the Fourth Wall spin-off, The History of Power Rangers, where each season is condensed and summarised into its own separate video, as well as his personal biased opinions on them. His words, not mine. In that vein, I set out to condense and summarise single arcs into their own videos. I too have given my own personal biased opinions, and, more often than not, whatever random thoughts just so happened to pop into my head at the time. I don't consider myself an expert in the franchise, having only ever watched most of the anime and read some of the manga. I currently have not played the visual novels, and have no immediate intention to. That's not to say the original visual novels are bad, it's more that I struggle with the visual novel format in general. Phoenix Wright is the closest I get to them. This series is a critique of the anime adaptation. If something isn't explained or the story doesn't make sense, that's the anime's fault. Though, even then, something being left ambiguous isn't a bad thing either. I may reference stuff from other mediums, but my primary focus is on the anime. Let it also be noted, I do get some details wrong from time to time. I've never been great at doing research, as much as I've tried to improve over the course of the series. But some things do still slip through the cracks. There's a very egregious one in the Curse Killing Part 2 video. Yeah, be aware that some things are wrong, and I've tried to correct myself in the comment section, or pinned comments, where people have been like, oh hey, this is the thing you've got wrong. So, you know, I'm being upfront about it. Hands in the air. There was never a concrete release schedule for these videos, though, over time, it evolved into releasing one new entry every successive year, giving us a neat little snapshot as to where the franchise was at that point, sort of like a time capsule in a way. Finally, I want to make it clear that originally I only intended to cover the first series of the anime. The dubbed version. I can explain. Let me explain! My initial reasons were simple. I watched the dub version, for better or worse. That's the version I had the most nostalgia for. And that's the one I want to talk about. Again, that's not to say the original sub is worse. In fact, it is superior. The voice actors have portrayed these characters for decades now, and know them inside and out. However, with the language barrier being there, I don't feel like I can give a valid critique of their performances. My ears simply aren't trained well enough to tell the difference between a good Japanese performance and a bad one. Especially if I have to read what they're saying in subtitles, made worse by the fact I'm a slow reader, trying to understand what's going on. Then another person starts talking, and I'm trying to look at the animation, as well as enjoy the music, and... oh god, I forgot to breathe! Bearing in mind that I also want to try and make this series of videos more accessible to new people, it's simply easier to use the English dub. Even then, if I think something in the dub is good, I want to give it credit, because it really gets a bad rep. That doesn't mean I'm not going to take the piss out of it. Hell, if anything, it gives me even more material to work with, so how can I say no? I also said in the original version of this video, it must suck to be dyslexic and an anime lover. A couple of people felt validated by that, and I want that sentiment to persist. I also know that we've got a couple of blind viewers who listen to this. So legitimately, I do hope that this series it proves beneficial to them, you know. As time's gone on, I have had some back and forth on whether I'd actually continue past Atonement. And at the time of recording this, I'm still unsure. I have talked with people about ways to continue it, and it would be pretty cool. But I'm gonna leave that until I'm 100% sure on what I'm doing. Oh boy, can't wait to remake this introduction in a couple of years! With all that said and done, I hope you enjoy this series of videos. If you like what you see, then do please consider checking out some of my other stuff on the channel. But for right now, join myself, General Update, Principal Hood, and God knows who else turns up in this series, as I welcome you to Higurashi, the Anime Retrospective.